apparently there are a lot of money problems that are new, right? These problems didn't exist 50 years ago, so we're going to break down 4 of them that didn't exist 50 years ago and how to fix them. Number 1 on the list, credit card debt. Credit cards were not hot 50 years ago. While specialty credit cards such as the Diners Club have been around for a while, the first general purpose credit card, the BankAmericard, now known as Visa, appeared on the scene in 1966. In the years that followed, credit cards have proliferated to the point that Americans love that sweet credit card debt.
Swipe, swipe.
Yep, so the average American holds 2.6 credit cards and $8,377 in credit card debt.
Ooh, I'm lower than that. I'm lower than the average.
How's that feel?
Feels good.
You got student loan debt though,
oh,
right?
Shh. Lord God, yes I do.
Yep, so they'll get you one way or the other, Richard.
And I think I am the average.
Yeah, so if you're stuck in credit card debt, this is one of the hardest ones to fix. One of the ways that you can pay it off is to tackle the problem one bite at a time. Some of the ways you can do that is by not living beyond your means, temporarily cutting back on non-essential expenses, but the main point, right, is that the less interest you pay, the better off you'll be, so pay your cards off as fast as possible.
Right, and what you want to do with credit cards
Don't pay the minimum.
Is you want to, like, you never, like, so what you got to do, if you have, like, if you're above that 2.6 credit cards, if you have, like, 5 credit cards, you should create a strategy, a payment strategy, and your payment strategy should look a little something like this. You want to rank your cards in order from the highest interest to the lowest interest.
Yep.
Pay the minimum on, like, if you have 5, so pay the minimum on the 4 that are your lower interest rates, and then pay, like,
off
triple monthly, or not triple, whatever. Pay as much as possible on the one with the highest debt, and then once you get rid of it and the balance 0, call, shut that card down, and cut it up.
Rip it up.
Then go down to 4, do the same thing. Then 3, and then you always want to keep 1 card around for incidentals, like, you know, grandma dies, dog gets sick, and you need to just swipe to save a life.
No, you're totally right. And sometimes, unfortunately, the way credit cards are structured, people with good credit tend to have access to more options for getting themselves out of debt. Because if you do have decent credit, you can do a balance transfer to a 0% card and say, listen, over the course of the next year, before this 0% balance transfer, the introductory deal closes out, I'm going to pay this thing off, and you can save money that way. But sometimes that's not an option. Moving on, Richard. The second one, saving for retirement. That's right. Remember, there was
I talked about that this week.
There was a time where you could just work a job and they would say, we got your back, buddy. These days, only 32% of retirees have any pension at all, and that number is trending steeply downward as pensions continue to vanish. So how do you fix it? The earlier you start saving, the easier it will be.
Are you saving for retirement?
No.
See?
Yeah.
I mean, there's the thing. I've benefited from the fact that a lot of my previous employers had 401k or pension plans, so I'd benefited from that. But because this interesting thing, because a new study found that millennials aren't saving for retirement, and people are like, well, why? And I'm like, 1, student loan debt, but 2, because we've never seen our parents really save for retirement, because most boomers lived at the final era of pensions. Yeah. Right? Like my mom will get Social Security and a pension. I'm pretty sure your mom, who works at the public school system, will get a pension.
I mean, I think they're trying to shut that down.
But she's probably on, like, I mean, most of our parents, like my mom actually retires this year. And so most of our parents, so we never seen our parents really save for retirement. So we're like, well, they didn't do it. And because they were the last generations of pensions. And they're the ones who also phased out pensions for us, for the record.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, baby boomers. We love you. I know you love us.
Yeah, so you can do the 401k or the IRA, but I think that there's going to need to be a cultural shift in retirement, and we're really not going to start to see the effects for another 10 or 20
And I mean,
years.
I'm going to be real with you. This year, probably in the next couple months, I'm opening up a Roth IRA because, 1, it's a great way to make sure that you don't pay that foreign taxes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're not saving money per se, because like you're still not spending your money, but it is a way to lower your effective tax rate. All right, 2 more, folks. Number 1, identity theft. That's right. While identity theft in one form or another is as old as mankind, the more credit cards there are, the more thieves there are to thieve them.
Indeed.
That's right. So the first step to prevent identity theft is make it hard to people get at your financial info. Use a good password. Check your credit report on a regular basis and minimize any fraud. And finally, Richard, the last factoid for you. Classic Richard Fowler Show problem right here. High healthcare costs. The healthcare industry has made huge scientific advances over the past 50 years, but in terms of prices, they have gotten way better at screwing over the average American.
Yeah, they have.
So, unfortunately, health insurance is a financial necessity these days. No one can go by without having it. You're going to need it at some point.
Right, and here's the thing about healthcare that's interesting, right? Because it's not like you go to the doctor's office and they're like, here's a menu.
Yeah.
Here, like, you don't even know what things cost. And if you notice a lot of times, and I'm one of the patients that are like, didn't I just get that? Like, I go to the doctor on the regular because I travel a lot. People go once a year. I'm like, I go every 3 to 4 months just to make sure. I mean, I live a very busy life. I'm always on the road. I'm on airplanes with compressed air, and
oof, that'll get you.
And that will always get you. So I try to go, make sure my stuff is good. But you notice a lot of times the doctors are like, oh, we ordered EKG. I'm like, didn't I get one last week or the last time I was in here?
Yeah.
And they do it because they
like,
have.
Sorry, buddy, I'm running a business here.
And here's the thing: if you're an Aetna patient, you pay one price for an EKG, and if you're a Blue Cross Blue Shield, you pay another price because the insurance companies negotiate. It's all this back of the office. There's millions of people who get their job is to code and process these back of the office things, and the taxpayers left out of it. And think about it: in 2006. We spent $3.4 trillion, which added up to about $10,350 per person. Mm. That's a whole lot more of an increase than inflation alone can explain.
It's a huge mess, folks. All right, there you go. There are your facts. Richard Fowler, take us home.